What's good, YouTube? Mr. Rich Reaper back with another reaction video, man. Hey, man, as you seen by the title of the thumbnail we got, here's what would happen if all humans completely disappear, man. You feel me? And yeah, man, like I told y'all, boys, we finna be reacting to everything, all types of stories, content, hooping, gaming, whatever case, old videos, whatever the case may be. So let's get straight into it, man.
It's 9:41 a.m. You've just woken up and brewed yourself a cup of coffee. Outside your window, you see the normal bustle of cars honking at a busy intersection, people waiting in clumps to cross the street, either mouthing conversations you can't hear or scrolling through their cell phones. You look up at the sky and see airplanes flying high, weaving in and out of dark clouds. The clock strikes 9:42 a.m., and all of a sudden, for reasons unknown, you and everyone else in the world vanish completely, without a warning and without leaving a trace.
On some Infinity War type shit.
The clock strikes 9:43. Your dog is barking feverishly, sniffing at the puddle of spilled coffee in a broken glass that is shattered all over the spot of the floor that you just stood in a mere second earlier. The only remaining evidence of you. The streets outside are now littered with horrific traffic accidents and electrical fires caused by the collisions of newly abandoned cars.
Damn.
Those planes that were flying through the clouds will stay in flight for a few more hours until the fuel runs out and gravity pulls them back down to Earth and they land in explosions. There's no one left to call for help, no police sirens in the distance, just...
I'm just thinking of...
Born into a...
Oh my god, bro. That shit be blowing me like...
The story kicks off back in the good old days.
Oh my god, bro.
around the world would shut down and rapid beings disappeared suddenly without leaving a trace, all 7.8 billion of us. Cars.
Nah, just literally think about it. Like, if all your cars, all, like, everything you just was doing at the moment just stopped, we just disappeared. Like, it'll be catastrophe. Like, airplanes, people at jobs working. Like, think about all the fast food restaurants and like, just think about, like, I remember I working at Wendy's. Think about all the food in the fryer. It's just burned. The stores will probably explode. Like, think about if you was at the laundromat, like, you just got clothes in there, just gonna keep spinning till it stop, and they just keep rotting till they rot away. Like, it's gonna turn into a dystopian society. That's crazy.
Those planes that were flying through the clouds will stay in flight for a few more hours until the fuel runs out and gravity pulls them back down to Earth and they land in explosions. There's no one left to call for help, no police sirens in the distance, just smoke, sparks, and electrical fires until eventual, total silence. This is what would happen to our natural world if all human beings disappeared suddenly without leaving a trace, all
Crazy.
7.8 billion of us. Throughout the first day of our absence, all of the fossil fuel plants around the world would shut down in rapid succession without humans around to refuel them with coal or oil.
Yeah.
These shutdowns would lead to electrical blackouts all across the globe, causing our world to go rapidly dark, grid by grid.
Damn.
If you were to look at Earth from space at the end of the first day of our disappearance,
I wonder how long that should take for, like, everything, like, across the world to just no electricity, go dark. Week plus 3 days. Who knows, bro?
the only two cities that would still have electricity would be Las Vegas and New York. On day 2, New York City would lose power, and at some time around the 36-hour mark without us, their entire subway system would completely flood due to the loss of manual laborers who pump around
Damn, that's
13
only
billion
like 2
gallons of water
days.
out of it every single day. Within the first 3 days of your absence, various insects would have begun infiltrating your home, making their way to whatever food was left out on the counter or the table. At the same time, Your dog would be on the same mission and would have begun munching on whatever scraps he could find, scrambling to survive without you around to feed and take care of him. Over the next week or two, the insects in your home would be followed by small animals like mice, rats, squirrels, and chipmunks, who would enter by chewing through the walls and foundation. Domesticated pets will have either found a way to escape their abandoned homes or will have starved to death inside, depending on the capability of the animal and the circumstances of the space they were left in. But even for the dogs and cats who are successful in escaping their homes, their struggle has only just begun. On their own now in the wild for the first time, these pets would not only have to compete with all the other newly freed dogs and cats out there, but also larger predators like wolves, coyotes, bears, eagles, and snakes.
Bro, it's gonna be like Animal Planet, like Battle of the Animals. Like I'm talking about dogs versus tigers, like elephants versus giraffes. Like it's gonna be crazy. Like just think about all around the world, bro.
To make matters even more complicated, the global loss of electricity would disable all the electrical fences at zoos around the world, allowing even larger and more exotic animals to break out and roam free. Imagine, if you will, lions roaming around supermarkets or monkeys climbing on playgrounds. Surprisingly enough, domesticated cats are predicted to have a better shot at survival as a species than domesticated dogs in the absence of humans, as dogs have been domesticated and selectively bred by humans for thousands of years longer than cats.
Thanks.
Furthermore, when left to fend for themselves, dogs organize themselves into hierarchical packs, which leads them to hunt and kill their own, whereas cats are solitary hunters who avoid preying on their own as a means of preserving the species. On approximately the 10th day without humans, the planet and everything that is left inhabiting it will be forced to overcome a major environmental problem. All around the world, humans have built 440 nuclear power plants, which house and store energy. Inside these power plants are diesel generators, which, unless carefully stored in cool water tanks, will heat up to 1,000 degrees and explode. The moment that the power goes out on the first or second day without us will create a ticking time bomb for these power plants, as the generators will begin heating up their tanks, causing the water to boil before evaporating completely. This would lead to the generators igniting, causing all 440 power plants to explode pretty much at the same time,
Damn.
subjecting the world to the worst nuclear disaster in human history.
Oh my god.
In total,
Hold on, what are you finna say?
these explosions would unleash about 500 times as much radiation as was released in Hiroshima with the A-bomb.
Oh my god. No. That's, bro, I'm telling you, that scale explosion is gonna be worse than anything I've seen in any anime. Like, oh my god, bro.
Radioactive smoke would fill the air, coating every plant or tree it touches with a metallic black film. Over half the world's insect and rodent population would be killed off instantly. Larger
Sheesh.
animals would cope better with the radiation, as their organs are more insulated. Smaller animals who have found ways to sustain themselves indoors, either in supermarkets, homes, or other buildings, would also be better protected.
Damn. That's crazy, bro. Just even thinking about this.
Within the first month or two without humans, almost all farm-raised cows, chickens, and sheep would have either starved to death or been killed off by larger, more skilled predators.
Facts.
Within the next 3 to 6 months of your absence,
It's gonna be kill or be killed with them animals, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
water would begin to seep in through the cracks of your home that were created by the insects and small animals. This water would erode the walls, floors, and ceiling of the home even further. A full year of moisture damage would really plague your home, stressing out the structures, causing wooden materials in the roof to snag and snap, and creating excessive mold. Homes made of wood would entirely be infested with termites at this point. After 1 year without us, Las Vegas would finally lose power and go completely dark.
Damn, it'll take a year for Vegas to go. I'm talking about a week. Maybe a few days, but a year? That's crazy, low key.
This would be the
Think about it. It would probably be so many animals populated there just because that's the only place with light.
result of the Hoover Dam finally shutting down due to the infiltration of a small breed of freshwater mussels called the quagga who, without humans to keep them at bay, would eventually clog the pipelines that are feeding the cooling water to the dam's generators. Who would have thought that the entire city of Las Vegas could be conquered by an animal less than an inch in length?
Man.
Without water running through the Hoover Dam, the Colorado River would eventually run dry. At the 1 year mark, Hundreds and thousands of wild and electrical fires would have gone unmaintained and would have led to the destruction of several man-made structures and cities. In places that experience winter, the cold will have brought with it the freezing and bursting of water pipes in most houses and buildings. All smaller or specially bred dogs are predicted to be long gone by this point, their primary predators being larger, more skillful dogs who have completely colonized in packs and even begun mating with wolves. Every year that humans were on Earth, our cars pumped out approximately 7 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the air. But now with us gone, the air is clearing up like it had never had the chance to before. Plants and growing trees will begin sucking up the CO2 we left behind for them, a process that will continue for the next 100,000 years.
Damn.
2 years after our disappearance, our once manicured lawns have completely overgrown into the fields. Concrete sidewalks are now filled with greenery that is...
See, that's why I said it's gonna be like dystopian. Like, I'm talking about every building, every town you go to just broken down, like grass growing out the buildings, like coming out of windows. Like, it's gonna be crazy if we disappear. Like, that is insane. Imagine we disappear and then just come back to this. Like, man,
pushed its way
that's really anime type shit right there.
through the cracks. The ice rink at Rockefeller Center Plaza in New York City is now a garden. There's no question that trees, plants, and ocean populations would thrive after we're gone. However, they would still have to contend with the mountains of human waste we left behind. Most of our waste would be broken down by decomposers such as bacteria, fungi, and earthworms, who feed on the materials by turning them into simple elements and nutrients, a process called biodegradation. After 10 years without humans, forest fires will spread out of control, resulting in the complete demolition of cities like Los Angeles. After 20, the paint on the White House in Washington, D.C. will have faded to gray, and low-rise cities such as Amsterdam, London, and Chicago will be completely submerged in water.
Chicago
After 30 years,
flooded.
the 25,000 space probes we have positioned in space will become visible to the night sky, soaring above the Earth like shooting stars, before gravity finally pulls them to the ground where they'll crash and burn due to the absence of battery power.
Damn.
50 years after our disappearance, formerly domesticated parrots would still remain traces of human speech. 75 years and 600 million automobiles we left behind would be nothing more than withered down, skeletal heaps of their former selves. 100 years after we're gone, underground running water would corrode the metal structures that hold up the city streets, causing the vegetation-covered roads to cave in on themselves and turn into mid-city rivers, like a gothic ghost town version of Venice. Insect populations are predicted to have fully recovered from the nuclear power plant explosions by this point, and would be thriving with the loss of man-made pesticides. This explosion of the insect population would trigger an increase of all the small animals who feed on them. This pattern of population growth would reverberate all the way up the food chain, causing the entire animal kingdom to boom over the next century. 300 years without humans, the steel rivets which hold together bridges would have rotted and degraded so much that the structures would begin to collapse one by one. The Eiffel Tower, which is also made of steel, is predicted to fall around this time, along with the Statue of Liberty and all other major skyscrapers around the world.
They just are crashing
Structures
down,
made of metal and glass would be the first to go, whereas stone structures would last the longest. But even those would become softened and weakened by the continual water damage and lack of...
Bitch probably gonna feel like Play-Doh. Like, you could just mold them, bitch. They, from the rain, from the... all types, they gonna be eroded like hell, bro.
maintenance. The last remaining man-made structures would be the Great Wall of China, the Pyramids of Giza, and Mount Rushmore, all of which could remain intact for thousands of years after our disappearance. 100 million years after humans disappeared,
Sounds pretty accurate.
the sole remaining evidence of human life on Earth, aside from our fossilized bones, will be shards of plastic and Mount Rushmore. If any new species of sentient life were to form at any point around this time, these artifacts would be all they had to piece together who humans even were. When we talk about the greatest threats to our human civilization, we tend
to think about it like, where would another species come from? Like, that can understand, like, what's going on. It's just crazy when you think about the world in that type of light, bro.
to think of man-made constructs like foreign governments, nuclear weapons, and artificial intelligence. But rarely do we ever consider the power that seemingly harmless things, such as water, climate, and plant life possess against this rather fragile reality we've built.
That shit look weird as hell.
And so, at first, thinking about how swiftly Mother Nature would reclaim her Earth after we're gone can feel kinda depressing. But at the same time, thinking about how powerful this planet really is, even despite the tremendous amount of environmental damage we've caused, can be oddly reassuring and maybe even liberating. Imagine now that you're back in your home with your freshly brewed cup of coffee in hand. As you look out your window, focus this time on the shrubs and greenery planted along the sidewalk, instead of the busy intersection and the honking cars. Instead of looking at the people waiting to cross the street, think about the earth they're standing on and all the layers of nature that have been buried beneath that concrete.
Facts.
When you look up at the sky, instead of focusing on the planes flying high, think about the clouds they soar amongst. Realize that this planet we call Earth is so vast, and that human life, and all that we've created, is really just one small part of it.
Nah, yeah, that's practically the end of the video, but nah, yeah, that's so real though. Like the last part he said at the end, like the earth itself is just like vast, bro. Like, and we're literally just a small piece. Like, even though we're 7 billion people deep, like we really just a small piece of what's going on, bro. You feel me? So it's just like, man, just make you look at the world in a different light. But if you like this video, you want me to react to more like this one, man, you feel me? Just leave it down in the comments below. That being said, see y'all in the next reaction. Be smooth.